Chris, what is our fifth and final main topic today?
Our final topic is from Robert Burke. Hey, John. Been watching since the AMC days.
Nice.
I was 9 years old then.
Oh, my God.
And I'm now 16. How old do you feel? Oh,
God.
Your influence on my life has been great and led me down a path of huge film fandom and love.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Thank you, Robert.
My question for you today was this. How big do you think Downton Abbey will open up to? Long-range estimates have it opening from 16 to 21 million, and I can't help but feel like this is the floor. I mean, boomers are going to flock to this like crazy, right? Thank you for all you do. John Roberts here seems to think that you perhaps are a boomer. How are you going to flock to the theater?
Well, okay. Yeah, Downton Abbey, first of all, we've talked in the show. You can't underestimate the impact that this show had on a lot of people. I mean, this became a very surprisingly big show. I mean, even Saturday Night Live did a couple of spoof sketches of Downton Abbey because it really did become quite popular and influential. I was surprised when they said they were going to do a movie. I'm like, really? People are just used to being able to go to it and watch it for free on TV. Just now a couple of years after it's done, you're going to do a movie version. But you know what? I think of more people than you think are going to go to it. Now, yes, right now, the site Box Office Pro right now is long-range forecasting, even though it's very close now, to coming up between $14 and $19 million. Now, to put that in perspective, I know we're all used to hearing Star Wars and comic book movie opening weekend numbers, and we're expecting to hear 150, 200. That's actually not bad. When you consider that, you've got other films like Rambo is opening up. That long-range projection is 11 to 16. Abominable, the family film's coming out, 19 to 24. The Addams Family, which is getting a lot of marketing, known IP, 16 to 21. So you've got this film, this little movie based on this little television show that ended up garnering a huge following internationally. And as a movie, which I would think probably wouldn't do all that well, is being projected to open around the same kind of numbers as some popular movie IP. And when you consider that they really didn't spend an awful lot to make this movie, I think this movie's actually going to do pretty well. Is it going to be, Star Wars numbers? No. Is it going to be Spider-Man numbers? No. Will it be James Bond numbers? No. But this is one of those movies that only needs to probably make about $70 million worldwide to be profitable. And on that level, I think it's actually pretty astonishing. And I think it proves people like me wrong who thought, you shouldn't do a Downton Abbey movie. And I think we're going to be proved wrong. And something my wife reminds me of every day. My wife is a total, Downton tea timer. I don't know if that's what Downton Abbey followers call themselves, tea timers. But Anne is a 100% tea timer. She cannot wait to watch this movie. And so, I think for what it is, I think it's going to be pretty successful. Rob, what do you feel about this? Do you feel anybody getting excited about it? How do you think it's going to do?
Oh, I think people are excited about this movie. I mean, it was one of those shows where everybody was talking about that show. Yeah. And I think that never underestimate the power that something like this has. Plus, it looks pretty sumptuous. Like, the trailers... John, I have never seen an episode of Downton Abbey.
Really?
Never seen an episode. I understand, what the show is about, but even when I watch this trailer, I'm like... oh, the Queen's going to come there. I kind of want to know what happens. I'm like, what are they going to do? And I don't understand. Like, I was looking at these characters. I know if I watched the show, I'd probably be like, oh, look who's back. No clue. I know they went to someone's house to get somebody back to come back to help the thing and whatever. I understand something's going on there. And because I talked to people that were really excited about it. So I'm going to go. It makes me want to watch. I think I'm going to have to do a Downton Abbey binge watch. How many seasons is it? 4?
3 or 4. It's not a long show.
I gotta catch up on the Abbey, man. I gotta go down to Abbey Road and listen to it all. That's what's gonna happen, and I think it's gonna do well. And like you said, 70 million. I bet this movie is actually a pretty big hit, comparatively speaking. I don't know how much its production budget was, but probably not that much because aren't they still shooting inside a bunch of rooms?
Same place.
Yeah, they shoot. I mean, how much did an episode of that show cost? This is just widescreen and. They shoot outside more. I mean, it's not going to cost that much to make other than paying a lot for, Maggie Smith to come back?
Mm-hmm.
You know what one of the genius things about this show, seriously, because again, I didn't watch it per se, but I would watch it whenever Ann had it on. And so I actually ended up seeing a lot of the episodes. I saw a lot of Downton Abbey. This is ridiculous in its brilliance. They made the most mundane things the highest of drama. Like this is hyperbole here. But it's likened unto this. We cannot find Lord Grantham's favorite black shoes. Dun dun dun. It's like that wasn't actually one of the episodes, but it's stuff like that, and they somehow make it feel like this is really important, and the drama that surrounds the whole idea. And sometimes they do headier stuff, like one of the characters one year was accused of a murder they didn't commit and all that kind of stuff. But for a lot of parts, it was just like daily life, and we just became fascinated by the characters, and they had this incredible skill of taking what to a lot of big movies would be mundane. Even this movie, somebody's coming to dinner. Quick! Go get whatever the main butler's name was. I can't remember his name.
Oh, is that who that dude
Mr.
is?
Carson, that's him. Quick, we need Mr. Carson to properly prepare for this dinner party. That's what the point of this movie is, and they're making it like the most important thing in the world, and it's genius. I don't know. Chris, you're seeing things about this. Mm-hmm. Number one, should they have made this movie, and how do you think it's going to do?
They definitely should have made this movie. In PBS's 45-year history, this is the most watched show they've ever had.
Wow.
This became a cultural phenomenon, and it was wildly successful here in the U.S. because people are obsessed with English culture and manners and class war and wage disparity. Like, this show was able to straddle everyday life and soap opera-like situations and really get people to tune into it. My dad was watching this show with my mom, like, because he was like you, and he'd be like, oh, what you watching, Marie? I guess I'll watch a little bit of it. But it draws you in. He was so fascinated by the things that were happening with the downstairs people. And it's a really, really well-done show with Maggie Smith being all sassy.
Yeah. Let me ask you, did they ever do any, like, Hammer horror and have, like, one of, say, or Barnabas Collins from Dark Shadows? Did they have a vampire show up in any episode? Like, well-dressed, just
I think you're just
hanging
gonna
out
have
at the
to
Abbey?
watch. You're just going to have to keep binging, Rob, until you hope you find a vampire.
Just like one genre episode, like a special episode for Halloween. Who comes to the Abbey?
We'll do what
Dracula.
everybody else does. A musical episode. Nope, they don't do that. They just, what's that, like the most popular, longest running soap opera of all time that's out of the UK? It's like 23
EastEnders.
Whatever, something like that. They find a way to make the everyday life of these people seem absolutely engrossing and fascinating. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And now the Queen is coming to dinner. I don't know. Question is, guys, what do you think about this? Do you think, I think there's probably a lot of you who watch the show who are probably not all that interested in it, but maybe a surprising number of you are. How do you think this thing's going to do? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right.